The audio that you're about to listen to was taken from our Instagram live stream.
Welcome, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends to Spoiler Sleepover, a Nerd Camp Network production. This is the first week without Jason Michael because he is off gallivanting at a summer camp for the next 3 months. So, as you've all been told ahead of time, each week I'm going to have a guest co-host on, and this is the first week of that. I have a bunch of things lined up, a bunch of really cool guests and different things, but Jason Michael was away. He's away. So I was able to do something that I don't think he would have done. I went completely off the beaten path, as you saw, I mentioned already. And we're breaking down a fucking anime. A whole season of an anime. I am not an anime, fanatic by any means. I watch it casually, but I like anime from time to time. This was nothing I'd ever heard of before, so I'm really glad it was told for me to watch. Awesome suggestion. This will be a really interesting episode. Enough of that. I'm going to bring on my guest co-host right now. I'm going to bring Ryan on.
Hello, Internet.
So yes, now there are two full beards on camera. But Ryan and I have been buddies for a few years now, actually. Wow, it's been 4 years.
4 years.
Yep. Yeah. We met casually before that, but I was a fucking alcoholic. Ryan was there for me a lot in my early years and early days of recovery. He really helped me out a lot. And that kind of solidified our friendship, I think. At least on my part, it solidified our friendship.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So we're just going to go into this the way that I normally go into any other episode and just, what's been going on with you, man? What's new?
Oh, recently moved. That's pretty much it. I've just moved.
Just moved. Yeah. And you moved in with your brother.
Yeah, my brother and sister-in-law. They had a place that I can move into temporarily, so, that's always good.
That's the best. And that's actually, I worked with his brother. That's how we met. I worked with Kyle more than once.
So I have no idea how many times you worked together.
Fuck, I don't know either. Yeah, so I've been busy just with work and this. Trying to get this. I know you and I talked a bit, but trying to get things put together solo is it's different. It's very different. But it's been fun, and knowing that I have the next 2 months booked out, it's such a huge sigh of relief, but it's also super stressful because after that I have just one person at the end of August. So we normally go into this other thing called What's Been Keeping You Up at Night. This is just a little bit of what have you been watching? What have you been listening to? What have you been reading? Have you been reading? Do you know how to read? What have you been playing? Because you're also a gamer. Which is funny. Lost a gamer as a co-host, gained another gamer as a co-host. So it works out. So what's been keeping you up at night?
So as for what I've been watching, I've been watching new animes that have been coming out because I'm a huge anime nerd. That's my thing. There's series like Magic and Mashell, I think it's called, or Magic Mashell. It's Muscles and Magic. It's about this guy that can just slap away spells. It's ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah. Been rewatching a Black Clover, another Magic series. It's fun.
I actually know that one.
Yeah.
Never watched it, but I know
I'm watching
that one.
the dub this time around, though. So
okay.
That's one of the things that I do is I'll watch the sub because it's the first thing that comes out. And
the original, yeah.
I'll go back and watch the dub once I've kind of forgotten half the storyline. But as to what I've been listening to, I was actually on a Chumbawamba kick this last week.
What the fucking random?
Yeah, really random. I'm just
I love it.
you know what? I haven't listened to a lot of their early stuff, so I'll do that because it's all like anarchist punk.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's
like Anarchy is my favorite album from them. It's great.
They are an underrated, very eclectic band that like every album is completely different.
Like Tub Thumping, probably my least favorite album.
It's everybody's least favorite unless you only listen to the radio, then it's your favorite.
Like I do like the song Tub Thumping, but there's like only 2 other songs on that album I liked.
Because you like pissing the night away, isn't it?
And then as for what I'm reading, I haven't been doing a lot of reading. I'm rereading the Discworld series slowly.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite series. Terry Pratchett, favorite author. And then I've been playing a lot of games. We just finished this game, Redfall. It was horrible.
Okay.
It just came out. Don't buy it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
What kind of game is it?
It's a first-person shooter, and the premise is really cool. It's you're hunting vampires.
So you already lost me.
Yeah, and it's like a Borderlands-esque kind of gameplay where you have like special abilities. Like I played a girl that could summon a umbrella that blocked bullets, and you could like psychic wave.
Fucked up Mary Poppins.
Yeah. She could also summon elevators you used as like a jump pad.
Okay.
And summon her ex-boyfriend who was a vampire. But the gameplay was horrible.
Oh, man.
It was very repetitive. I beat this new Star Wars game. That was very fun.
I've heard nothing but good things about that. So that's, I mean, I don't have a system to play on, but it's on my radar. I will be playing it eventually.
My friend Devin streams every Saturday.
On Twitch.
On Twitch as Plague Nemesis.
There you go. Plague Nemesis.
Yeah, and we've been playing Stardew Valley. That's always fun. And then my friends just gave me a laptop, so I've been able to play with them on the computer. And we got a game called Sunhaven, which is very much like Stardew Valley, but it's like a fantasy-based game.
Okay.
So like the first thing you do is you pick your race. And you can play as, a human, or an elf, or a demon, an angel, Naga, and there's like magic and you can run around and
dope.
It's got more combat than like Stardew Valley does, but it's a fun game.
Nice.
Farming simulator also, so.
Gotta have the farming.
Yep.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's about it for me.
Nice. I've been, Jesus. Well, I brought it up, I don't know, weeks ago at this point, but I started reading, I bought 3 short stories from a buddy of ours. His writing name is Seamus Belial. It's our buddy Sean Cochran. He writes fucked up horror short stories. And his most recent one has been getting a lot of acclaim and a lot of attention and stuff like that. And I finally finished it, Sean. Finally finished Finger Bang Fang Fuck. That's the name of it. And it is... it takes a lot to make me uncomfortable. And my God, did I get uncomfortable. Yeah, it's good. It was really good. It was fucked up. But I've been watching a lot, per usual, because that's my jam, is I just watch shit. I watched the entirety of the show we're going to be talking about today in 2 days. Tried to do it in one, which is funny that I can watch like 5 movies in one sitting, but 12 episodes that are like just over 20 minutes each. I was just like, I noped out after 5 episodes.
You stop doing the intros, it gets down to about 15 minutes.
Oh, and I do. I skip over the intros, and then I skip through the ending credits just to get to that bit at the end. Yeah, so let me just dive into this long list, and I'll just tell you which ones you should and which ones you shouldn't watch. So I watched Baby Ruby, which was, I'd actually I saw a trailer for it before it came out, and I was like, oh, this seems really cool. It's like a mother kind of going through the process of having a new child, like her first new child. And I was like, oh, this will be creepy horror. No, it was fucking boring. The woman was fucking annoying. There's just a baby crying the entire time. The husband was useless.
That's the scariest thing of all.
Yeah, it was just, I couldn't. I was like, no. So, I mean, if you want, watch it. Obviously, I won't tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but like, it was not for me. The new season of It's Always Sunny started up. The first 2 episodes, I don't know if the third one's up yet, but the first 2 episodes were dropped. And holy shit, it's fucking hilarious. They're still kicking ass at that show. I watched a movie on Shudder called Influencer. I don't remember Oh, it was Fangoria had written something about it on their. I saw it on Instagram, and surprise, surprise. And I was like, oh, well, if Fangoria's writing about it, this has got to be good. Nope. It's, I don't know. A woman who's got she has a birthmark on her face, just goes around killing, like, media influencers, people who, like, do this, basically. Except we're not influencers at all, in any way, shape, or form. It was not good. It was boring as fuck. I found myself on my phone about 40 minutes in, just playing games, because I was like, I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna pay attention when I can, but it bored the shit out of me. As of last night, I'm saving the best one for last, by the way. But as of last night, I watched Avatar: The Shape of Water, the latest Avatar movie that took 9 years to come out, 10 years.
What was it? The actors thought they had already released it at some point, right?
Yeah, and it was over 3 hours long.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, I watched it all. I paused multiple times because I was just like, all right, I have to be close at this point. And I paused and I was like, I've been watching for 50 minutes. Like, I'm not even an hour in yet. And it's a fun movie. It's another Avatar movie. It just takes place in water this time instead of in the trees. I got emotional a couple times. There's a few moments that I was like, okay, yeah. But, I mean, if you have 3 hours to kill, go for it. Like, I'm not going to recommend it, but I'm also not going to tell you not to watch it. I had a good time amongst the pausing. I had a good time. And then the best one, I went to the movies and I watched Boogeyman. So it's the newest horror movie that's based off of Stephen King's short story. I jumped, which takes a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I told you I watched Boogeyman. I didn't tell you this. So I jumped twice. And they weren't during the signature, like, this is when you jump moments. It was like After Effects shit where I was just like, the realization of something or like just the thought of what was going on startled me. And I was just like, okay. And there's so much of that throughout the movie. While it's still in theaters, this is what I'm going to tell you. Just spend the money. Go see it. It's totally worth it. It was really good. All right. Think that's about it at this point. So let's just jump into the meat of the episode. As of Ryan's suggestion, I had kind of had a thought. I said, do you want to come on? He was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I have an idea. Maybe we can do an episode about horror in anime. It was all I was thinking. It was like, oh, you and I could just have an open discussion about animes that have horror aesthetics about it or horror, themes, whatever it happens to be. Like surface level anime knowledge, like Death Note. Very, very loosely horror, more of like a suspense thriller, I would say. Stuff like that, or Tokyo Ghoul.
A lot of anime I don't consider to be like horrifying. They have scary stuff in them.
Yeah. And I mean, this one, so the show we're talking about is called Mieruko-chan. And this was an interesting one.
It's a horror comedy. It's not, you could get jump scares from it if you haven't seen a horror movie before.
Yeah. And that's actually, it's funny too, because that's the opening of the first episode it's a false opening. It's basically like this weird, like almost Ring-esque opening. And you then find out it's a TV show, which gets brought up.
Yeah, it's like a late night ghost TV show.
Yeah. And it gets brought up throughout the entire series too. So like they keep going back to it, like bringing it up. And they keep showing the same fucking episode, like, throughout the entire series. They just keep going back to this one camp scene. Just hilarious in so many different ways. But yeah, so this show, when you told me it was, like, horror and there were ghosts, I was like, oh, so, like, yokai, which is just ghost in Japanese.
It's just kind of like a umbrella term for supernatural entities.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, even in my notes, my pages of notes, I wrote yokai instead of ghost. And I'm glad I did, because later in the season, we're introduced to spirits.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I am really glad I differentiated my terms here so that I wasn't writing ghost and spirit, because in English, ghost and spirit are kind of the same thing. And in Japanese culture, yokai and spirit are very different things. So the very first episode, we're introduced to our main character, Miko. the Japanese. So I watched the dubbed because I don't like reading my shows or movies. It's just me. I know how it is. You were saying something that
So I've watched the sub, like when I first watched the series, I watched it subbed, and then I watched it again last weekend, watched it dubbed.
Right.
So I like seeing what the difference is, because a lot of times for me, it's the voices have to match the characters. That's my big thing. And they did a really good job on this one, where a lot of the, they didn't really change any words in it. So, like, in a lot of animes where it's like, oh, we're going to have a donut, and they bring out a rice ball.
Right.
They don't do anything like that.
No, because the donuts in this show are actually donuts. No, that's good, though. I mean, I did watch episode 6. I watched the opening subtitled because I wanted to hear the voice actors' voices, and good Lord, I did not like Miko's voice acting voice. No, not at all. The American voice, at least for me, the English voice seems more fitting to her personality. I felt that the Japanese one was almost too bubbly, which was like, not saying like when she was getting scared, like her voiceovers, when she gets scared, I'm already like spoiling way in before we even get into this, but like her voiceover was like, I don't know, seemed too bubbly. And then the Hana was like, fuck, Jesus, way too annoying. Like, she's annoying in the English dub anyway, but like endearingly. So the Japanese one, I was just like, holy shit, shut up. So I immediately stopped it, rewound it, just went back to the dub. I was like, I can't do
if
this.
you don't watch a lot of sub stuff, you get annoyed by any voice that isn't. It's too high pitched, I think, for you.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of screechers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get annoyed with that in real life, and I'll just like shut off. I'll shut down. I'm like, I can't fucking.
You also turn the volume up to like 50 when you're watching stuff half the time.
Generally, yeah. I mean, that's the only way you have to enjoy things. Unless it's a TV show. I keep my TV shows pretty low. Unless it's The Rookie. You have to watch The Rookie at full volume because it's a fucking movie per episode. Like, it's so good. That's right. This is the guy who got me watching The Rookie. So, Jason Michael, when you're watching this, blame him.
I'm a huge Nathan Fillion fan. I'm actually wearing a Firefly t-shirt right now.
There you go. All right, so we're introduced to Miko, who is the main character of the show. Like, she's like the forefront focus. Miko sees yokai.
Not at first.
Well, no.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. All right, hold on. Let's get into this. So, we meet Miko, and she's at school. We meet her friend Hana, which was my first moment where I was just like, God damn it, Ryan, why do you have me watching? This show in its comedy is Japanese comedy, so it's very like boob-centric, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, there's a lot of fan service. In the first few episodes.
3 episodes is what I noticed. It was the very first 3 episodes, and then they just really make it a joke, which I was like, okay, I can get this. But then there's something that happens in episode 4 that I have a physical note that says, what the fuck, Ryan, do you have me watching? Like, that was, but we'll get there.
I think I might know what you're talking about.
So, Miko and Hana are having a conversation about these little charms that they got on their backpacks. It's not really all that important in my eyes. Hana's obsessed with this fucking cat thing. No, the rabbit. Yeah, the rabbit. And then the charm that Miko has happens to be. It starts to show up more. I noticed.
Yeah, it's a little.
She wears that like she has like the hoodie that she wears and a T-shirt she wears that has the logo on it.
I would also like to point out in the first episode there is a reference to Death Note.
Is there? I missed it.
So there's a scene in Death Note where Light is sitting at his desk and he sees the Death Note fall. Right, and he's looking out the window and he's got like this hand up like this and he's like,
"Yep."
She does the exact same thing except there's like a volleyball that she's looking out at the window that's moving
by itself. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And this is before she starts really seeing ghosts.
I didn't make the connection to Death Note on that one. And I've watched Death Note more than once, like more than 5 times in its entirety. Like, I really do like that series.
But it's the same exact shot.
That's so funny. I feel like we might be alienating people who've never watched animes, but I will say ahead of time, like, we're going to go into this further, but I do suggest this. This was actually really enjoyable. I really liked it. The design of all of the yokai were fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah. They are... Some of them are absolutely terrifying. Some are just creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And there's one type that we see a bunch of that's just cute as hell.
Yeah.
But, so, I don't want to, like, deep dive too far into it. We're more or less just going to spoil the series as a whole, but I just want to give everyone a setup. Miko loses her charm.
Yep.
Her and Hana are leaving school, so she turns around. Miko turns back around and goes to school to try and find the charm. She finds it under a desk.
After she goes into the room, she sees a black shadow in the darkness, turns on the light, nothing's there.
Yep.
Turns it off, nothing's there, turns it back on, everything's fine.
Yep. So she grabs the charm, and as she's reaching for it, a dark shadow flies from behind her down the hallway. And she grabs the charm, she leaves. And it's now nighttime. Somehow it went from day to night in like a matter of minutes. She's at a bus stop.
And it's raining out.
Yep.
And at the beginning of the series, her parents are like, you should grab an umbrella.
Yeah, that's right.
She's like, no, I'll be fine.
Which is, it's Miko through and through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's a teenager. It's
and
a perfect teenage move.
Throughout the day, there's like almost eerie music playing in some scenes, but nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Like, and crows are cawing constantly.
Which, for good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just thank you for bringing that up, because I was just like, the last two episodes, it was like the crows. I was like, oh, they've been there the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
But so she goes outside, and this is as the viewer, this is our first time really seeing full on a yokai. And my God, did they choose the right one to show first?
It starts with she sends a picture of herself to her friend Hana, because she's in the rain, and Hana was asking if she was okay, and she's like, I'm fine, but this is my new look.
Yeah.
But then the picture gets sent back to her, and then it keeps getting sent back and back and back, and it just keeps popping up.
Yeah.
And it goes faster and faster each time, and then her picture changes.
Yeah. It distorts
into a creepy looking ghost girl, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, it's got her uniform on, but like no eyes, open mouth, and it's just Yeah.
So this yokai shows up.
Yeah. So she drops her phone and freaks out a little bit, and then picks up her phone, and everything's fine. Her friend texted back, "Oh no, do you need help? Do I need to come help you or whatever?"
Right.
She's like, "No,
oh, good. I'll bring you an umbrella." That's what it was.
Yeah.
But the first yokai shows up. We see its face at first.
It's right next to her.
Yeah, and it says, "Can you see me?" Like, can you see me?
That is a running thing throughout the entire series.
And it's honestly like, up until the reveal of its body, I was like, oh, this is kind of sad. And then it pulls back, and the whole thing is just this big fat mess. And it's got like innards like falling out of it.
There's another face inside of its chest.
It's brutal, dude. And she just she's acting like there's nothing there. Like, as a viewer, our first time with Miko and a yokai, we think, no, she can't. Like, this yokai's talking for no reason. And then a voiceover comes up and she goes, I can totally see it.
Yeah, and you see her, like, bunch up her fist and, like, try not to. She ignores it. Tries to ignore it as much as possible. So they mentioned that in the fake opening of the TV show, where, what would you do if you ran into a ghost? Well, I would try to ignore it or put salt out or, do all this stuff.
Which is all comes into play in the first episode, by the way. We see we see a few more yokai throughout it too. Throughout the first episode, she goes home and like fills a bowl with salt. And
first is the bathroom scene. So at the beginning of the show, there was a hand mark on the
yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, and she wipes it away. It's one of those things that's like, oh, her brother did it. When she gets back home, it's there again. And she's like, this is the second time this has happened. I'm going to have to talk to him. And then, like, a ghost slams its hand on the mirror.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
like, reaches around her, can you see me? You know, and it's a different ghost than before. This one has like a long neck, and he looks like he's wearing a business suit.
Yeah. Which is...
And
I like how some of the yokai throughout the series too are just dressed
casual,
normally, and they're not like
and then there's
crabs.
Or, you know, the chains around their neck or whatever.
Oh my gosh, that one.
You know, so she's just like, oh, I've got something in my eye, and like starts washing her eye out, and she's like, okay, it'll be gone when I get back up, and it's still there.
Yeah. So Miko very much
up in the bathroom for 20 minutes, waiting for it to go away. She's very much like, yes, I can see it. Going to ignore it. Ignore.
I definitely got the feeling that she's been seeing them for a while, and I know that this is based off of a manga. So you knew it was based off of a manga?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a web manga turned actual manga and then anime.
Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I saw looking up images and stuff.
Yeah,
I was finding a lot of the manga images.
I did a little research because I haven't read the manga, but the beginning of the manga is the bus stop.
Okay.
And then I wanted to see how many episodes were from the anime's point of view and then the mangas, and there's roughly, I think there's a little over 50 series, like manga series out right now, but
oh wow,
we're at like book 25.
Okay.
Where the series ends.
Okay.
The anime series.
Oh, it actually
the
ends.
season.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if it actually ends. I haven't read any of it, so. But like where the anime ends right now in the first season is book 25.
Got it. Yeah, I was more wondering if the manga itself goes into like, do they mention that she's been seeing it before? Because it seems rather convenient that it's just like the very first one she ever sees is at the bus stop, and she's freaking out the way she is, because it's like no matter who you are, you're not going to ignore at that much. You're going to react a bit. So I'm under the impression she'd been seeing them for a while, which remind me of this, because I'll bring it back up, because I'm pretty sure there's a specific yokai we see that help me lean closer to. She knows that these have been around longer. She's aware of it. So, pushing forward, she sees that one. She sees one under her covers in bed.
Yeah, goes to bed. She brings a salt.
Yeah, a bowl of salt.
Into her bedroom to try and purify the area. She looks over at the salt. It's like fallen over after she's like pulled the covers up. And then like something starts to move underneath her covers.
Yeah. She picks it up and it's just a head, like basically laying on her lap. Can you see me?
No, this one goes mama.
Oh, mama. That's right.
Mama.
I have it in the notes right here. It says mama. Yeah. So she puts the covers down and then just wakes up in the morning.
Yeah. And then goes about her day. Everything seems fine. And this is this still in the first episode, I think? No, that was the end of the episode, was the mama.
No, the end of the episode is she goes back to school, and there's the ghost that pops out of the wall and calls her teacher. She's like,
that's the second.
Hello,
episode.
Teacher. Nope, that's the first episode.
That was the second episode.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. So she sees that. I mean, this series jumps all over the place so much, in even just a single episode.
Yeah.
There are other episodes that just take place like in a tunnel for an entire episode. So, fast forward, episode 2. Short and skinny, we find out Hana does not like horror.
Yeah,
which
she's,
cute as hell.
skittish.
Couldn't date her. You don't like horror? Sorry. There's the door. See you later. But she was talking about, or she overhears other girls in the locker room. Yes, locker room. It's anime.
Yeah, that's the only way to describe it.
Yeah,
There's some things that anime could do without, but they still throw it in there.
And that's one of those things is like, I don't want to get too like quote unquote political about it, but the over-sexualization of things like this. It did take away for me a little bit throughout the series, but the saving grace is the animation and the design of these yokai. They are fucked up. Like this is, as a whole, it is a horror comedy. Like through and through, it's a horror comedy series. and the horrific things that happen in the series are horrific. But yeah, so they overhear two of the girls in the locker room talking about the ghost show, and how there was a head in a locker.
Yeah,
and
there was a severed head in one of the episodes.
Hana freaks out and is just like, "Oh, there's gonna be a fucking head in this locker," and has Miko open it. And sure as shit, there's a
check this locker. Yeah. And Miko's like, "Why would I do that?" She's like, "Well, what if there's a head in it?" Yeah. And Miko's like,
and there's a
well, she opens the locker, nothing's in the bottom of it. And she's like, "Oh, it's absolutely fine." Yep. Looks up, there's a severed head on top of the next shelf.
Yes.
And it's just looking at them. And then, Miko left her cell phone up there.
Yes.
So,
it's one of those, we find out also throughout the series that, just because you can see the yokai doesn't mean you can't walk through them. It's all a matter of like how you approach the situation. And so Miko reaches through, walks through a bunch of them too throughout the series. But then we're back in the classroom, and the running thing that throughout the series that Hana's always hungry. Always hungry. Just wants sweets. Yep. Sweets. And
food. She eats bratwurst at night.
And borscht.
Yeah.
Borscht. Oh my gosh. But she has a yokai wrapped around her, which I have lovingly dubbed the grope yokai.
Yep, I have it as pervert desk ghost.
Yeah, see, I was like grope, pervert, but it's just grabbing one of her boobs.
Yeah,
but
it's just got wrapped around her, and it's got like several arms, and it's unnecessary.
So they go to the nurse's office.
Yeah, because Miko tries to get it away from Hana as it's like coming out of the desk.
Yeah.
But
so Miko runs her to the nurse's office, and the yokai is still attached to Hana. And then the nurse shows up.
Yeah, and it immediately jumps because
bigger boobs.
That's it.
We're not making this up. This is all I'm telling you about episode 2. That's the episode. It's just a gropey dude. It's so bad.
Well, there's more stuff that happens in episode 2. That's where they also find
the kitten.
The kitten.
Yeah, that we know we can't skip over that.
Yeah, can't. That's a very important thing. So after that, they go home, or on their way home, they find a stray kitten in a box, and like Hana's all like, "Oh my god, you're so sweet," and Miko's looking at the ghost that's also in the box.
Like folded.
It's like folded, and it's terrifying looking.
And it slowly crawls its way out, but
so they decide to try and help this cat, but
they post it online, trying to either find its owner or a home for it.
But, and the ghost follows them, and it's just staring at the cat.
Yeah, and they go wait in a park.
Yeah, and the first guy that shows up is just like this scary-looking Yakuza kind of guy who's got like scars on his face, tattoos everywhere.
Doesn't say a word.
He's just staring at them like wide-eyed, and like they're like, "What's this guy's deal?" And you just hear him like just making.
Yeah, I mean the look on his face. I'll be honest, like, so if you don't know anything about like Japanese culture, it will just seem weird to you. But like tattoos in Japan, like visible tattoos,
are social pariah.
Yeah, you're looked down on. It's almost seen as less than, and I mean even. There are certain restaurants and stores that won't let you in, like if you have tattoos, visible tattoos. So
it's because it's mostly associated with the Yakuza and crime and stuff like that.
So then another guy appears who has your stereotypical. Dude, the minute tell me I wasn't the only one. The minute he shows up, he has red eyes. Yeah, so I was just like, oh, bad guy. Like immediately, I was like, oh,
well, you know, he has like he seems like a charming guy at first. He's like, oh. You know, you're the ones that posted the cat, you know, and he looks like a nice guy.
And, Hana goes to give him the cat, and then Miko looks up, and the dude's, like, spilling with these dark shadow yokai all over him.
Just, like, like, they're like cat yokai, like ghosts that are, like, just meowing at him, but, like, death meowing.
Yeah, so
like, it's terrifying.
Mika says no. Takes the kitten and gives it to the tattooed dude.
Yeah.
Which is the smartest move.
Because as soon as she gives him, you appears on his shoulders are two like golden cat spirits.
Yeah.
That are, like they look nice. Like they don't look terrifying like the other guns.
And that was the first moment where I was just like, hold on, does this show have heart? Like I was just like, oh my gosh. So I should also let you know that the end of every episode, like any fucking Marvel movie, sit through the credits. I think there's only one episode where there wasn't anything, but
I think it was episode 3.
No, so maybe there's 2 then, because there was I think it was the episode 11 only just led into episode 12, but there's always something, a little something. Sometimes it's not even that important.
No, it's just.
But this
they
one
didn't show you one thing.
Yeah, this one was pretty important and comes back around too. But we get to see him, the tattooed guy, holding the kitten and just saying names at it, trying to figure out what name the kitten wanted. He wasn't just naming it; he was giving it its choice. And then you see the kitten spirits again and a female spirit also,
which is his deceased wife.
Yeah, and
which he also had 3 scars on his face.
Yep,
signifying all 2 cats, and the new kitten gave him a new scar.
Yeah, right on his lip, very small one, but gave him a new scar. Yeah. So he's got scars for love, which is beautiful. Yeah. Like it's this show. I have a note later that just says, "Holy shit, this show has heart." I fucking cried during a specific moment. Like I teared up. I was like, "What the hell is happening? The show is pervy as fuck, and then this shit happened." And I was like, "Okay, so this is a saving grace." And then
it's anime right there
for you. Literally, the next scene is the perviest shit ever. I was just like, "What the fuck is going on with this show?" I was like, "I'm in tears now. I'm just uncomfortable. Like I'm uncomfortable with my own feelings right now. I don't know what's happening."
But yeah, and then it pans over to 3 pictures and like the incense burners that they have for like honoring the dead and stuff like that. And it's the picture of his wife and the 2 cats.
So then we jump into the next episode, which is going to be a day off of school. Miko is on a public bus and she hears like a bunch of like girls gossiping.
Her dad, sees her off in the morning. Is like, have fun. Be safe.
That's true. So then, but she hears all these girls gossiping on the bus, and she starts looking around.
Yeah.
And realizes that
buy prayer beads, by the way.
Oh yes.
To help, get rid of the ghosts in her life.
But she looks around the bus and nobody's talking.
Yeah. There's one person in front of her
who's shifted because they were sitting at the front of the bus. And then she looks down at her phone and looks back up, and they're sitting in the seat directly in front of her.
And then there's like 3 people behind her, but no one's talking.
Yeah. And then
you start hearing, "OMG! Yeah. Oh my God!
Yeah, they're
really?
Literally
That's ridiculous!"
Like
just saying that, and they're saying it over and over and over again. Just those phrases.
So they, it turns out that the what we think should have been a sign later in the series for me too, because there's a moment that happens and I was like, wait, what the fuck? But it looks like a regular person, and then it just morphs into a 4-headed female yokai who are just
talking to, like, gossiping to each other.
And then they surround her and they're staring at her. And then she fakes them out and, like, hits the stop button.
She hits the stop button
to get off the bus, and the yokai leaves, and she does it, and the yokai's just chilling outside the bus, just staring. I thought it was the best moment. I was like, that's fucking dope, dude.
That was her actual stop.
Yeah, I know.
It was her actual stop, but she was too afraid to get off the bus because the ghost got off.
And the upside is she texts Hana, "I missed my stop," and Hana's like, "Yeah, me too." I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." Yeah, of course Hana would miss her fucking stop.
So then she's sitting at like a cafe. It's, what was it, Starbucks? Instead of Starbucks?
Yeah, they do that a lot with a bunch of the name stuff.
That's a very big anime trope because they don't want, like, copyright issues or whatever. Yep. So they'll be like, Mr. Donald's or whatever.
Yeah, so, she's sitting there waiting for Hana, and there's...
This guy
walks in with a female yokai attached to him.
Mind you, he's on his phone, like, chatting up this girl,
Yeah, flirting, like, trying to, like, basically get in her pants.
Yeah,
kind of
so
situation.
I have written down, fuckboy.
Yeah, no, literally fuckboy. 100%. And so the yokai that's attached to him is super, like, possessive.
Yeah.
Don't look at him.
My notes are fuckboy, jealous ghost.
Yep, and that's what it is. And this yokai is just, oh man, she's so in love with him.
Yeah,
and he like looks at
Mieruko.
Because
Mieruko's staring at the ghost.
Yeah, not at him, and the ghost thinks, or the yokai thinks that she's looking at him. So she gets all up in Miko's face about shit, and then she pulls up a video on her phone of fucking wrestlers, like big mustachioed wrestler, and she's like, "Yep, that's what I like."
Wrestling is also a big thing in Japan.
Yep, and she was like, "That's what a man is right there, all that muscle and mustache."
And the ghost is looking at the phone, looking at her, looking at the phone,
looks at the dude,
looks at the dude, and just goes, "She's safe."
Yeah,
and goes back over to the dude.
just amazing. Well, then you find out. So Hana arrives finally.
Yeah.
They want to. Miko just wants to leave, but Hana wants a drink. And then the dude tries to hit on Miko. Miko has no interest in him whatsoever.
Yeah, and just leaves. Like those two leaves.
Well, no. Then the dude's girlfriend, actual girlfriend, shows up, and he lies to her, and she's surrounded by like adoring male
ghosts,
yokai that are just like, I love her. It's just like, oh my god.
And Miko goes, "Yep, those two are made for each other."
Yep.
Birds of a feather or something like that.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, then they are off to go buy prayer beads. Miko had done a little looking up and realized that if she had prayer beads, it might protect her from the yokai. So
she buys 4 of them.
She buys 4, and they're going to go get, what is it?
Butt buns.
Butt buns. I wrote it down too.
And some of them have strawberry cream in them.
Yeah. Can't say I've ever eaten a butt before. I wrote that down because I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
So she ends up giving Hana 2 of them because she's like, well, Hana needs these also because she's figured out that Hana attracts a lot of the yokai.
A lot. And they decide to cut down an alley.
Hana decides.
Decides to cut down an alley.
We just have to go through this sketchy alley.
Which is exactly what she says.
And you look down it, and it's just full of yokai.
Tons of them.
And
one big boy.
Like crawling over the walls, just everywhere.
So Hana starts walking through.
Hana just skips down the alleyway.
And
Miko goes to grab her. But then she notices that the yokai are moving away from them.
Yep.
And she's assuming it's because of the prayer beads.
Yeah, so
they're actually doing something. She's found something that works.
Right.
So
Miko gets super confident about it too. And then we see this big fucking yokai.
Kind of like reminds me of almost a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing, where it's got like a sack on its head.
Yeah, you know who he reminded me more of was...
Did you ever play Resident Evil 4?
I've never played a single Resident Evil movie.
Really?
Game.
Okay.
No, I've watched the movies. No, I've watched gameplay. That's not true. I'm lying. I played like the first 3, but the forced camera angle changes drives me nuts. So I was just like, I can't do this. No, it reminded me of there's a character. Oh shit! Now I just forgot the name of the movie. 13 Ghosts. There's a ghost that kind of has a similar build and shit. But so this one's got chains and like a bag.
Yeah, it's got chains around its neck. It's got a bag.
As soon as Miko thinks that these prayer beads are working,
it says itchy.
Yep.
Like just over and over again, just itchy.
And it snaps the beads.
The beads just explode and go everywhere.
And of course, Hana wants to be Hana about things. And it's like, well, you got ripped off. Let's go back. Yeah. No. It's
Hana's a good friend.
Yeah. Hana's a great friend.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what's going on. But,
no idea. Can't see anything.
But the beads break, and they muscle through.
Yeah. Miko goes, you know what? If I just go through it, it won't think that I've noticed it.
Yeah.
Which is solid thinking. Because if you can't see it, you're not going to know what's there.
Yep.
So she just walks through the thing.
Yep.
Nothing happens. She's safe.
What does she drop?
Hana dropped her bunny rabbit. Her bunny rabbit doll. Or backpack or whatever. So Hana goes to grab it, but Miko freaks out because the ghost is standing on it. So she grabs Hana and like dives at it. So she ends up just sticking her head in its like stomach area and just
frozen,
just standing there. So then she gets up, turns around, hands it to me, Hana, and Hana's like, "Are you okay?" And Miko's like, "Yeah," and like almost crying.
So they head off and they find, I've written her down
The godmother.
different ways. I'm going to go with what her name is. They call her the godmother. Because I wrote her down as a fortune teller, as a fraud.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of different names.
Yeah, because when you first meet her, she's like conning a woman.
Yeah.
Like that's how it starts. She's a fortune teller who's conning this woman who's trying to find love.
Yeah.
And she's like this middle-aged woman who...
It's like, you'll find love. Yeah, you'll find love. All the guys...
if you listen to the fortune teller, she's like, when she's counting the money, she's like, this will only work 2 more times. I gotta find a new mark.
Yep.
And I gotta pay off the guys at the host club. Because she's paying them off to flirt with her.
Which is even better, because we're gonna bring up the godmother a few more times, and she does nothing in the series. Like, she's fucking useless at this point.
So
I'm assuming she's going to come back in season 2 and be more important.
At some of the like end of the manga, like where the anime ends, there is some stuff that's like has more relevance with her.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of assumed. I mean, there's no way this is the end, because it's extremely open-ended on the last episode. Like, that last episode was a waste. Like, the last episode offers you fucking nothing other than, hey, they're friends now. Like, that's fucking it. Yeah. And you're just like, okay, great, wonderful, fantastic. So Miko gets the first pair of the most powerful beats ever from the fucking godmother.
The godmother's like, oh, these are just kids. I'll just pull something off the pile and charge them like 3,000 yen.
Yeah, so $30.
Yeah.
So she immediately puts them on, and that giant yokai followed her and snaps that one. And the godmother...
Mind you, he's not like physically going and snapping. It just explodes.
Yeah. You see a flash that time, like almost like a slight, like a blade slash almost sort of situation. And the godmother then sees a shadow, which is...
the first time we've seen someone else be able to see the yokai.
Right. So... she's like, hold on, let me get you something more powerful. She actually goes and grabs, like, legitimate, like, protection prayer beads.
And she goes, like, as she's turning around, she's like, so, have you seen anything strange? No?
Nope. So,
and then, she goes, well, has anything weird happened? Like, didn't even get to finish the sentence, and Miko's like, no.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay.
So Miko's just, as a whole, denying.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what, and that continues.
And the godmother realizes this, and she's like, this is a strong kid. She's seeing this stuff and just ignoring it as best as she can. And she looks over at Hana, and Hana's just glowing orange.
Yeah, and she literally says that she has a strong aura.
And, like, anything that goes after her isn't going to do anything, so she's fine.
Yeah.
Miko, she knows, can see the stuff, so she needs protection.
Right.
So her friend keeps attracting this shit.
She gets the really strong beads, the actual strong beads, puts them on, and they explode.
Mind you, she's in her... the godmother has like an inner monologue of like, these are my strongest beads. I've been pouring energy into these from my like prime days.
So you're just like...
and they're like glowing gold.
Yeah,
they're gold.
I was excited watching it. I was just like, fuck yeah, dude, what is she going to do? Because any anime like this, you're immediately like, all right, she's finally gotten her weapon. Now we're going to watch her kick some ass. I was just like, no.
It just explodes.
It just explodes. I was like...
and like, the beads go flying and like, it goes slow motion and like into the godmother's face.
Yeah, it was
great.
I was really hoping for some like yokai ass kicking action. I was like, this is gonna be dope. It was like, no, and nothing kicks ass almost for the entire series too. Like, it's just a lot of denying and really cool cartoon ghosts. So,
but honestly, if this was like happening to me, I probably would have been dead already. Because, like, the first one would have been like, can you see me? And I would have been like, nope.
Well, and
I would have answered.
Here's the thing is, like, the beads don't immediately, the powerful ones don't
immediately
break. That yokai changes fucking form.
Oh yeah. So he like starts twitching and like getting agitated and just screaming, itchy, 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 and then the beads explode.
Yeah, well, it's his head goes back. I remembered this because I was like, this is an awesome visual. But his head goes back, his mouth opens, and other heads start coming out of his mouth. And I was like, holy shit.
So those beads were doing something.
Yeah, it just happens to be that yokai was powerful enough to, like, basically like just fucking Dragon Ball Z itself up. At least it didn't take 3 episodes to get that strong. It was only like 2 seconds.
That's one thing about this series. There's no like prolonged fight scenes.
No, God, no. No, not at all. They're all really like, even the few scenes of fight that we do get are so fast.
Yeah.
But once again, I will say this over and over again. Animated amazingly. Like, all of the yokai. Just whoever's brain that came out of, like... Oh, that was the other thing I didn't mention. They have a... why am I forgetting his name? Junji Ito. There's a Junji Ito reference at the beginning, the very first episode, because there's the dude, the host for the TV show, has the candle thing on, and his name is Jonji something, and I was just like,
Candle Joji.
Yeah,
Candle
Kanji Joji. Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, is that Joji Ito?
There's also
reference?
I forgot to point this, I think that was in the first episode. Or no, it hasn't come up yet. Never mind. I'm wrong.
Which, the candle guy?
No, I'm thinking of a different reference that hasn't shown up yet.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so, again, if you don't know who Junji Ito is, I personally cannot recommend enough. I don't know if you've read any of his stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so, like, this dude...
terrifying.
Yeah, he writes and does all the art.
There's actually some anime stuff out there.
There's one on Netflix. It's terrible. But he does... graphic novels, I'm going to say, is graphic novels. Yeah. He has some books that are short stories, that are compilations of short stories, but he does all of the drawings himself, and he does, I mean, his artwork's fucking fantastic. It's some of the creepiest shit ever, but Spiral.
Spiral is my favorite.
Spiral was the first one I read. I suggest it for pretty much anybody. It's fantastic. He also has a joke book just about cats. So if you want something light and you want to see really good drawings.
Have you ever seen any interviews with him or anything?
Yeah, he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, he's like one of the most jovial people you'll meet, though.
But he's yeah. But anyway, so there's that cool reference. So the yokai in the show are very reminiscent in a sense of Junji Ito, but nowhere near in depth of how terrifying. I think these ones go a lot more in the Japanese film aspect of terror, like black eyes, big open mouths. There are a few that aren't that, and I found them a lot more terrifying. The tunnel yokai is one of those that I was just like, the fucking hell.
A lot of the
shit?
stuff is like, if you think of like a yokai painting, right? That's a lot of what you'll see.
Oh yeah.
But then there's
the elongated necks and stuff like that, which is we see a bunch of too, even, which is just awesome. All right, so jumping on to episode 4, Miko is at a convenience store, and I don't remember, she's buying a drink or something.
Pudding.
Pudding.
It's a pudding.
That's right. This is the episode that made me fucking cry. So, fucking hell. So she buys a pudding, and there is the teller behind the counter, and then directly next to that teller is like a 8-foot tall yokai teller, giving her the wrong price.
So here's an interesting fact about that.
I was hoping you were going to have one because I was really confused that entire time.
I was confused the first time I watched it, so I looked up because I'm a nerd. But it's because she was adding a 3% tax, which they stopped in 97.
Oh.
So that's why. So that ghost has been around since before 97.
See? There you go.
So
because I think it was like 120 or 110 yen, and the yokai kept saying 103.
Yeah.
So
she bought more stuff just to make it 103, so the ghost wouldn't freak out.
Yeah. Which again, that's one of those moments that shows you the heart that Miko has too, which is like, even though she doesn't want to see this shit, she still has heart.
And then it goes from there. She goes home. Her
and her brother are watching the show.
TV. Her parents have gone to bed.
Yep.
Like they both her parents said, "Hey, I'm going to bed. Good night. Don't stay up too late."
Yep.
Her mother and dad.
And so her and her brother, who is One of the only like English voice actors I was like they could have tried better. It's a woman voicing a boy.
Yeah. Well,
like,
they do that a lot.
I know, but they at least make him sound more like a young boy. This just sounded like a woman talking. Like I was just like, this bitch didn't even try. Like she was just like, I just read this, okay. But she decides to go and get So I'm gonna do this real quick. So she freaks out over a fucking shampoo commercial.
Yeah.
And decides to go get a drink. But the ends of some of these episodes from this point on go back to specific points in the show and show you what Miko was seeing. Because there were moments where like
there wasn't anything there, but she still freaked out.
And we don't see anything as a viewer until after the credits at the end. And so what we end up seeing is the fact that during that commercial, there are yokai fucking all over this model. Like, just hands all over.
Like, and there was a yokai during the show, but it was just sitting there going, ah.
Yeah.
And, like, she was just kind of tuning it out, essentially. But, like, the hands got to her. Like, because it was just all over that
so
lady.
much. So she takes off to go to a machine to go get a drink and drops her 5 yen.
Yeah.
5 yen? 5 yen coin? Yeah, it's a 5 yen coin. And that's when we see the cutest goddamn thing. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Which this is an actual, like, phenomenon that happens in Japan, like most of the stuff.
Yeah, so it's there are these tiny little naked old men yokai. They're the cutest thing I've ever seen. I was just like, oh, that thing's so fucking precious.
Yeah, and like she goes down to grab the coin, and it's like, and runs off.
Yeah, it's all sad at first, and then it just books it.
So she picks up her coin, and she's like, that was adorable. Celebrities talk about this stuff on TV all the time.
Yep.
And then she goes, oh no, I've dropped my coin, and throws it in that direction. And it rolls off around the corner to where the little man ran off to.
Yeah, into this alley. So she goes there.
And there's a big old man, yokai.
Real big.
With 2 faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got its main face and then like one, like where its stomach should be.
Yeah.
And like there's one of the little old men yokai like in its mouth staring at her. So and she's just staring at them.
Miko goes to pick up her 5 yen. And
the ghost kind of freaks out a little bit and like slams its hand near the coin.
Yeah, which is
spews out like noxious gas.
And
she's about to like freak out because of it.
So she reaches for the coin and a crow swoops down and grabs the 5 yen and just fucks off with it. And then she just goes home and her brother's like, where are the drinks? And she's like, a crow took my yen. And that's it.
Mind you, she thanks the crow because she didn't freak out because it stole her coin.
Yep.
And gave her an excuse to run away.
So at this point, the brother basically pretty much thinks that she's got like a secret boyfriend and starts stalking her for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, which is it happens in anime. It's a trope.
Yes. So
overprotective brother.
She goes to a bookstore and she's looking up books about paranormal stuff. And then she leaves and he goes to see what she was reading.
And he's looking at his eye level, not her eye level.
And he grabs the wrong book.
Yeah, it's like How to Please Your Lover 99 Ways.
Yeah, and he reads something about hickeys.
Yeah.
Then there's a really weird scene in the bathroom that's not necessary to talk about outside of the fact that a yokai comes out of the drain.
There is something that I do want to point out. When she's in the bathtub, there's a reference to Nightmare on Elm Street.
There sure is.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yep. Yeah. So bathroom scene, some weird incestuous undertones.
Yeah.
Let's just put it at that.
Then there's
Move on.
we'll just cut forward to the morning. There's the morning. In the first episode, Miko looks out the window and there's a dog barking at a pile of trash for no reason. This time she looks out the window and there's a yokai in the trash.
Yeah.
So dogs and cats in Japanese lore, I mean, it's even now in American lore. People will like, oh, my dog's looking at something and I can't see.
Or my cat's staring at the ceiling. There must be a ghost.
But it's very much a calling card to be like, well, they're seeing these things. So then we go to, it's the morning.
It's the morning. She goes down to breakfast.
Yeah, Miko goes downstairs for breakfast in the morning, and there's a fucking yokai there.
That's like the size of the room.
Yep.
Almost. And it's terrifying.
Licks her food.
Yeah. And, her brother and mother and dad are there talking, you know. and they mention the pudding.
Yeah, her brother brings up that there's pudding in the refrigerator.
Is it yours? And she's like, yes. And he's like, well, you better put your name on it because, someone might take it again. And her dad goes, hey, listen, that's a sore subject for her. Leave it alone, okay?
Yeah.
And then she gets up to go to leave because the yokai licked her food, so she doesn't want to eat it.
And this is the moment that got me. This was the moment I brought up where I teared up. She goes to the refrigerator and grabs...
She goes to leave.
The pudding.
Stops.
Right.
Turns around.
But she grabs the pudding, and then she walks over, and we see her put it down, and then we see that she puts it down in her father's shrine, which is a Japanese thing. When a loved one dies, they put a shrine up in the house, and it's her dad.
We saw this with the guy with the cats.
So we end up seeing that this entire time that her dad's spoken, she's responded.
She has not responded.
She responded once.
Nope.
I could have sworn she responded. She's looked at him.
Oh yeah, she's looked at him.
So,
because he's just sitting there, and mind you, every time she comes home, or whatever, she asks, where's mom?
Yeah.
Doesn't mention dad at all anytime before this.
That's fair.
And then, because she knows he's dead.
So we find out that Miko's dad is no longer alive. He's still with us,
Yeah.
but he's not alive.
Yeah, and then he kind of fades out and gets sparkly a little bit. So there are ghosts that look normal, like normal people.
Yeah, and that happens to be that happens to be a it comes up a few more times. So jumping to episode 5, yeah, we gotta really go through this.
Yeah. This one's fairly.
Yeah.
This one has a heartfelt moment in it too.
Yeah. We're introduced to the weird girl at school.
Yulia.
And I love Yulia.
She shows up in the first episode, but she's not really that important. She's just kind of there.
Yeah. She's mean to him.
Yeah. And you find out she wants to be the godmother's apprentice.
Yeah. And that's because she also sees yokai. But
she doesn't see the giant scary ones.
Nope.
Just the normal human-sized ones.
Or
the little tiny old men.
The naked old men. Yeah. My favorites. They're fucking cute as shit. I want one in my pocket. That sounds weird. Don't put naked old men in your pocket, all right, people? It's 2023. You can get canceled or less. So Yulia basically just realizes that Miko can see yokai also.
And the godmother has left town after the whole exploding...
yeah. She's fucked off and closed shop.
Yeah,
and
moved in with her kids.
And all Yulia wanted to do was be her apprentice.
Yeah,
and learn from her.
An exorcist.
Yeah, and Jesus.
She has main character syndrome. That's the best way to put it.
She really does, and to be completely honest, I'd watch a Yulia show just because of her fucking energy. She's hilarious and so angry. She has Napoleon syndrome. She's so short and tiny and fierce at the same time.
You also find out that when she was a kid, or younger, I should say, elementary school, she told people she can see ghosts.
Yeah.
But no one believed her.
Pretty much blacklisted and didn't have friends, which comes into play and continues to come into play throughout the series to another heartfelt moment that happens later. So, let's see, where are we?
Yulia confronts her.
Yeah.
Miko, because she figured out Miko can see the ghost. She was kind of stalking her for a day or two.
Yeah.
And she sets up a trap in the volleyball room where she corners Miko in there and then scatters a bunch of shiny objects to lure out the little old men.
Yeah.
And because she's I'm gonna exercise them and show her my power.
The bottle caps.
The bottle caps. And Miko's there's cockroaches in here? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And, Yulia's I know you can see them. And in Miko's head, she's yeah, I can see the little ones. She looks over in the corner behind Yulia, and there's just arms coming out of a basket. But I can also see that.
Yeah. There's a giant yokai comes out of the volleyball bin.
It's a cube monster with a bunch of arms sticking out of it, and eyes, and
it's cubed head.
Yeah.
It's one of those, this is the moment, too, that made me go, okay, so yokai can take the form of anything and are just kind of based off of anything. The traditional yokai are based off of, they're more or less legends that have been skewed to make children do what parents want them to do. Like, if you don't go to bed on time, there's like a long-necked female yokai that in legend will like come in and like take you away if you don't go to bed when your parents tell you to. There's a yokai that if you don't wash your back will take your eyes.
Yep.
There's a bunch of weird ones, but this show takes that and like flips it on its head. It's just like they can be fucking anything. like go back, that tunnel fucking yokai. Why?
Haven't gotten there yet.
Why is that a thing? It made me so uncomfortable. It's the only one I was just like, I don't like that at all. Like, so I want to jump forward a little bit in this episode to Miko walking home and runs into a little old lady who clearly has dementia.
Yeah. So at first she thinks it's a ghost.
Correct.
She's starting to get to the point where she can't
differentiate between the two. And the old lady grabs her arm and she's like, "They can touch me."
In one of the earlier episodes when she got in line for the donuts.
Oh, yeah.
She got into the wrong line. It was a line full of ghosts.
Yeah. There's 2 lines that were queued up for Mrs. Donuts.
Yeah, Mrs. D's.
Miss D! Yeah, which is continuing. That's Hana's favorite place to go and get treats. It was Mrs. D's, Mrs. Donuts. But so she thinks that the yokai has grabbed her, but it's this little old lady. So she carries the old lady to go home, and this is the other, as somebody whose grandmother had dementia. It was very, first of all, they did it tastefully. They did a good job at it. They didn't mock it by any means, or any shape or form.
The old woman's daughter comes out and is like, "Mom, you have to stop leaving the house."
Yep.
And then the old woman goes, "Oh, thank you very much for my dentures."
Yep.
"Who are you?"
And then we get another well-dressed yokai, fucked up face, but well-dressed. And it just keeps muttering 4631 over and over and over again.
And at first it's just to Miko, and she's kind of freaking out because she's like, "That's not a person."
Yep.
And then it goes over to the old lady and like bends down on her level and is trying to whisper those numbers into her ear.
Yeah. The old lady keeps asking about Miko's phone, and Miko then types the numbers into the phone and shows it to the old lady.
So she doesn't have to say the words out loud, so it's not...
Yeah, then the old lady walks in and goes directly to a safe and opens it.
And the daughter's like, "Mom, you're not going to be able to figure that out no matter how many times you try."
And she pulls out like a comb and puts her hair up and then starts talking about cooking dinner.
Yeah, she turns completely back to her usual self.
Yeah. And then the yokai walks up to Miko and thanks her. Thank you, little girl. And it was just so sweet. And that's the first time that Miko, like, didn't directly, like, confront a yokai, but, like, definitely made it known that she was aware.
Yeah.
And
she didn't do it in an overt way. She did it, like,
very, very, very
subtle.
Subtle as hell. And, my God. At that point, I was like, okay, here's the turning point. Just like when she got the fucking prayer beads, I'm like, here's the turning point. Nope. She doesn't fucking do it again. Well, not anytime soon. We're back at the donut shop again.
Yeah, and there's the line of ghosts that goes around the corner, and they get eaten by another yokai.
Yeah.
And then she's in line for the donut shop, and she looks, and there's the old yokai that she just helped getting eaten.
Didn't I see that guy before? Yeah, you did. You're not going to see him again.
My guess is that's where some of the ghosts go when they no longer have unfinished business. That would be my guess.
That's actually a really good way to look at that. Because I
think the ones that look mostly human are human ghosts.
And they were all mostly human looking in that line, so they must have, like...
Had some unfinished business that they just took care of, or something happened where they don't need to deal with it.
Gave up.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm going to that line immediately. Unless I get to turn into something really fucked up. I'm gonna say it again. Like the tunnel one. Then we're on to episode 6. Miko and Hana want to go on a fucking bakery tour.
Yeah.
And just get all the sweets in the world, basically, because Hana loves sweets. Yeah,
that's like the first 5 minutes, like the first opening scene.
Yeah.
Right? Is just Miko like, "I want this one. Or no, Hana's like, "I want
Yeah,
these ones.
Hana wants all of them.
Yeah, and then Miko goes to pick one and goes, you know what, I'll get... Nope, not that one either. That one.
Yeah.
Because this is another scene that shows up at the end of the episode where she's seeing ghosts, but the show doesn't show it to us.
Yeah, the yokais are inside the display case.
Going, let me out.
Let me out. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, so she doesn't want... Yeah, it's fucking amazing. They walk outside after getting them, and there's a giant yokai that has like...
It's got
reversed face.
Reversed. It's got eyes down here. It has eyes where eyes should be, but they're sewn shut.
Right.
It's got like really long fingernails, like claws almost, and it's just disturbing.
Yeah. Not the most disturbing, but definitely.
So Miko sees that and grabs Hana and like, you know what? Let's go this way instead. And then it goes to the next day.
Which is something that she also realized, I think it was in the alley, was when she said cockroach and made Hana jump away. She was like, oh, I can redirect her away from these yokai just by saying things.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? I want to go get sweets on this side of town. Hana's all for that.
So then we're at Hana's house.
She wakes up, and she mentioned this at the beginning of the series where her lights flicker constantly, like weird stuff happens in her apartment. She's like, maybe my house is hungry too. And this is the episode where we really see that Hana has like a really powerful spiritual energy around her.
I mean, in reality, this episode it's not just the fact that she has a spiritual energy, it's the fact that the sweets feed that.
Yeah. Anytime she eats, it boosts her power up.
And she's always hungry. Her stomach's always growling, and then she eats. And we see it a few times too, where every time she eats, her aura like expands.
And she goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah, pretty much. Once again, it doesn't take 3 episodes to happen. It just happens immediately, which is amazing.
Yeah. So then
it's the boob power.
Yeah. Yeah. All of it goes to her boobs.
I hate myself. It's so true, though. Like, she even says it. It's like, all this food is just going to my boobs. You're like, dude, really?
But yeah, so she leaves her house to go to school, and the yokai from yesterday, the really terrifying one with the upside-down face and long fingernails, is there. It followed her.
Yep.
And it starts following her, and it's just it's not doing anything. It's just staring at her and following her. And then it picks up one of the little old men yokai, because they start coming out of the woodwork anytime Hana is near.
Yeah.
And it like throws it at her, and it lands on her, and it starts to burn.
Yeah.
So the ghost then picks it up and eats it.
The second one he does, he just holds it close to her.
Like it's a marshmallow.
She ate something, and her aura got big again, and then he like cooked the dude. All of his skin came off, then he ate it. So her aura is just...
It just burns yokai.
She's yokai hibachi.
Like they're attracted to her, but it's like moths to a flame.
Literally.
They don't try and dive bomb her, though.
No. Hana doesn't like moths.
Yeah.
She'll avoid machines that have moths on them.
And then she ends up finding this kid whose dog has run into a haunted building. You know. So she's like, oh, well, I have to go help this kid find his dog. Goes into the building. It's filled with yokai.
Yeah.
They just start popping out of everywhere. And she ends up finding the dog and getting out. But she texted Miko before she went in to meet her. You know, I have to help find this kid's dog.
Yep.
So Miko ends up finding her. And she sees the yokai that's been following Hana.
Yep.
And it's
way bigger.
Way bigger. Transport. It's got like eye stalks coming out of its normal, like where
it's like they're on the top and the bottom.
Yeah. And it's like mouth has opened up and it's like tongue is like it's
being a tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disturbing. Like it was disturbing before, but then it turned into something worse.
Yeah.
And Miko's like, where the hell did you look for this dog? Oh, a haunted building. So the ghost, the yokai, used Hana as bait to eat the other yokai and become stronger.
Yeah. So they had plans to continue their bakery tour.
They were going on a movie, actually.
Oh, that's right. They were going to go to the movie. The movie was closed. The movie theater was closed for the day.
Yeah, Miko goes, it's closed. We're going to this shrine
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
So they go out to this shrine to make an offering.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, they offer, money.
Which is also... I find this amusing. So, offerings at shrines, there's like these...
So it's a box.
It's a box that they either have like slats in them or like cubes in them, depending on where you're at. And you're meant to toss it in. You're not supposed to drop it in. You're supposed to toss it in because you're offering. You're throwing an offering. In Japanese culture, if you throw that offering and it's rejected, doesn't make it in, you're not supposed to put it back in.
Miko does.
Miko does. And that's the thing is, I knew that going in, like when I saw it, I was just like, she's not going to, she put it back in. That's stupid. Immediately. And I thought it was stupid, but the next thing that happened, I was like, okay, good. 2 light spirits show up. So they're fox spirits.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know they're fox spirits is just because I know Japanese culture to a point. And I also like baby metal, and they have an entire fucking, not only song, but an album based around fox spirits. And a dance, which I'm not going to fuck. I'm not a weeb, I promise.
That's my territory.
No, that's your territory. So these fox spirits, they're light spirits. I'm just going to call them light spirits from now on because they bring the positive light, show up. And then they fight this giant fucker.
Oh yeah, it's like a epic anime battle.
Yeah. But it still happens really quick. Like, it's not like an
they end up
extended
summoning another bigger spirit afterwards also.
Yeah. A big one.
And it like eats the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the spirits are talking to each other, but you can't understand them.
No.
Because it's gibberish.
Well, it seems like I'm tempted.
Replay it backwards.
And someone has to have reversed it because it just sounds like it's speech in reverse. Yeah. So
I haven't done that. I haven't looked up for that.
And in the dub, and in the sub, it's not. It's just gibberish.
Yeah, well, it's Japanese. So they don't give subtitles for it.
Fair enough.
So it's just noises to me.
Okay.
But like the big one reaches over to Miko and goes 3 times.
3 times.
And then they disappear.
Yeah. Which was, I heard 3 times and it was like it went in one ear and out the other. And it wasn't until a couple episodes later that it hit me and I had to literally go back and write a note that said 3 times and I was like, oh, that makes sense now. So
it's actually the next episode that I kind of realized. Because the next episode is the Haunted Tunnel.
Yes, this is the one that So we're on episode 7 now, and we have once again another unnecessary scene. Yuli in a fucking shower. I don't get it. Like, it's whatever. It's the culture.
And then they gave her backstory. That was the backstory.
Yes. So it's her awesome backstory of finding out like
she can see ghosts, but she's not afraid of them.
Yeah. It's also Hana takes a picture
in the last episode and it's like,
yeah, so
wants to become a photographer now.
Yeah, and she takes a picture, and that's when we realize that Miko can see. Scene. Yeah, Miko can see
ghosts and pictures as well.
The pictures.
Yeah.
So Hana decides that she wants to start doing photography, and she gets a Polaroid camera. Yeah. Oh man.
And it's like, Miko, do a pose. And then she, or just takes her picture. Mm-hmm. And like, Miko looks at the photo and there's a ghost running behind her, even though they're on like the 3rd or 4th floor.
Yuli sees the photo but doesn't see it. That's also even more proof that we realize Yuli isn't nearly as like...
I think she saw that one because she's like, oh, you're taking really good photos. Let's go to this. I know a place we can go where you can take more photos.
That's right. That's why they end up even going to that fucking tunnel in the first place.
Miko wants to avoid ghosts as much as possible, but Yulia's like, no, I know you can see them. I'm going to prove it.
It's also the fact that Yuli thinks that Miko is like out to get her.
Oh, yeah,
or make her like defame her if you don't defame
Well,
her.
Miko did put her in a chokehold and dropped her.
Yeah, well, you lock me in a volleyball closet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna choke you and drop you too. But so they go to this tunnel, this haunted tunnel.
Like,
I don't like the yokai. You have to fucking. It made me so uncomfortable.
Okay, so at
I don't
first,
know why. It makes no sense that this made me uncomfortable.
so they get up to this tunnel. It's a road that goes, and Yulia's like, "There's a great spot for pictures right on the other side of this tunnel," and like, Hana's like, "Oh, it's really dark and spooky in here. I don't know if I can go through." And Yulia just kind of pushes her through it, and Miko, follows through because her friend's going through it. And Hana takes a picture of Miko, even though Miko can see this ghost right behind her.
3. There's only 3 behind her.
And then
She's in the closing credits.
Hana takes the picture, and they end up showing it, and it's just like 20.
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
There's like
So
a ton.
many.
It's like all of the background is just ghosts.
There's more of them.
Yeah. So then they start going through the tunnel, and Miko's trying to get him out. And Yulia can see the ghost, and she's like, there wasn't that many a second ago. And then she
also thinks that Miko's doing spells.
Well, another ghost shows up. Another yokai shows up. It's a barrel with like a bunch of legs coming out of it.
I don't like it.
And they look like they're in like a crab kind of position, and it starts coming at them, and like it's killing the other yokai, the normal human-sized yokai.
Yuli cannot see the giant one, but she does see the normal-sized
and she
yokai disappearing.
Miko is like casting spells because like she dropped something or went to go tie her shoe and like went like this and like did a Full Metal Alchemist like barrier spell.
Another great anime.
Yeah, but so Yulia sees this one that's like this small little blob one and is trying to use her power.
Yeah, she thinks she's gonna defeat it,
but she doesn't have any like actual power. She can just see them like Miko, just not as much. But then it explodes. And Yulia's like, did you see what I did? I did that, And the ghost, the barrel yokai realizes Yulia can see it.
Yep.
See yokai, and it transforms, and it is so like the barrel splits open. What was that? A bunch of bodies come out, like all morphed together, and like it's just one of the most disturbing.
Pops open like a can of beans, and they're just a pile of heads. That made me so uncomfortable. All of them. That's the one that really bothered me. It was like,
and it goes to hit Yulia, but Miko throws herself in front of her.
She grabs both the girls, and like tries to shield them.
And you think they're gonna get hit, but then the 2 fox spirits show back up.
Yep.
And kick the shit out of it, and it runs away.
Yeah.
Like they don't kill it, but it runs away. And then after that, one of the fox spirits just holds up 2 fingers.
Yeah. So
Miko understands, they meant they're going to protect me 3 more times.
Right. So, then let's jump over to episode 8.
Yeah.
So, Miko and her brother are out shopping for a birthday present for their mom, and Miko decides to try on the dress that she wants to get and goes into the changing room, and there's
a yokai in there.
A yokai that's arguably it's
one of the most tame ones.
It's disturbing looking,
but it's just going. Like, you look nice.
Yeah, what a beautiful girl. Like it was like what the.
And it's dressed up like one of the store clerks.
Yeah. So she decides to just pay for the dress without taking it off because she's not going back in the changing room.
She doesn't want to deal with it.
So they get on the train to go home.
This one freaked me out the most, I think.
This one I was really intrigued. And here's the thing. If they drop a second season, which I'm sure they will, I want to see it again.
Yeah. It was cool. But it was also one of the most scary moments for me.
This yokai is is a horror icon want to be.
Yeah.
So this yokai appears wielding an axe with this awesome like face wrap on that's really reminiscent of like Darkman.
Yes.
That's what it really reminded me of. And he's going from passenger to passenger, just fucking axing them in the head.
Wrong one.
And just,
Next one. And he's just going down the line. Wrong one. Wrong one. And she's like, we gotta get off. We gotta move.
Yeah.
We gotta move. She goes to stand up, but this other guy stands up.
On the phone.
The yokai immediately,
no in Japan.
Yeah, immediately like looks at him and goes over, just starts trying to hack him.
Yeah.
And then it stops. It's like
the woman sitting next to Miko has some weird black fog coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And the axe-wielding yokai hits her and then removes an entire yokai from within her.
He hits her and goes, "Found you."
Yeah.
And like you look at it shows you the inside of his hood, and there's like two other faces on each side of him in the bandages, and it's creepy looking.
So
and, just rips the yokai out.
Yep.
And then it looks at Miko, holds up the axe, and Miko is in her inner monologue, is just like, "I'm gonna freak out, I'm gonna freak out, freak out, freak out," and then
nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Well, what does happen is they get off a stop early, and Miko says that she needs to go to the store to buy new underwear because she's soiled herself. She's soiled herself.
And her brother's like, "Oh,
must suck to be a woman.
Girls have it rough."
Yeah,
and she's like, "That's not why."
So we cut back to Miko's house, and her mom is making 2 cups of tea. And puts one down at the father's shrine.
They bought her, instead of the dress, it was a couple's mug.
Yeah, lover's mugs.
Yeah.
Which is really sweet. And I also teared up because I was just like, oh, that's so sad. Little does she know, he's still there.
Yep.
He's still there.
And then after that, they're back at school.
Yep.
It cuts to them, Hana and Miko at school. And their teacher is pregnant. And
this
was
was
about to go on maternity leave.
I dead ass cried and paused and like had to take a moment. The teacher is pregnant and is about to leave and talks about hoping this one stays because she previously had a miscarriage.
Miko could see like a white
the white cloud going
around her and is like, "Please stay away from stairs." Like she's kind of freaking out on the teacher's
Don't lift anything too heavy.
Yeah.
But she talks about the miscarriage, and this white cloud had attached itself to the belly. And like, as soon as she says that,
baby's hand come out and place it on so it's her unborn child.
Yep. And as somebody who's gone through that type of loss, it was done very tastefully.
Yeah.
And it was very, amongst all of the fucking weird, overtly, unnecessarily sexual things that happen throughout the show, and the really spooky fucking yokai designs, this moment, as brief as it is so heartfelt. And I literally had to pause because I was just like, wow. So then we find out there's going to be a new teacher.
Substitute teacher.
So
and in he comes.
We are then introduced to Zen.
Yeah.
Who we've seen before.
Yeah, he's the guy at the cat park that had all of the evil spirits around, or evil ghosts.
The yokai ghosty black spirits that were all around him, and his beautiful red eyes. And he does not recognize Miko or Hana. He doesn't remember where they're from, nor does he ever seem to remember anybody's name from this point on. He does not have, he's like me. I would at least recognize a face. He doesn't even recognize a face. Like, he doesn't remember Jack Diddley Squizzle. But he has a giant yokai attachment. Well, at first we see it outside of the school.
Yeah, because she
Miko
was looking at
hands for almost like the
like bug fangs.
Yeah, almost like the Predator from the movie's Predator.
But Miko's looking at Zen because she's like freaked out by him, and this giant yokai is just like, "Don't look at him."
Yeah, and Jesus. So that is our introduction to actually getting to meet Zen officially, I would say, more or less.
Yeah.
So Miko goes to the bathroom, and while she's in a stall, a yokai comes out of the toilet, because why wouldn't you? And she decides to go to the next stall over. And as she opens the stall, this is when we get to see a little bit more into Yulia, who's eating lunch alone in the stall, which is just sad. We get another flashback to her being picked on in elementary school again.
There's a term for character types, I can't remember what it's called. It's they're essentially rude people, but they want to be accepted.
Yeah.
That's the character type she plays.
Yeah.
Which is a big trope in anime.
I know a lot of people like that in real life. Fuck those people. I don't have time for that. Anyways, they then, Miko, and then it cuts to Miko, Hana, and Yulia sitting outside together having lunch together, which is really sweet. And Yulia offers a little hot dog. She calls it a little wiener to Hana. And then Hana immediately puts it into her sweet. She does a bread pastry. And it's...
Yeah, because now that Zen's around, she has to constantly keep eating.
Yes.
Because her power's being drained by all the yokai.
Constantly has to keep eating. She goes to the nurse's office at one point, too, and it's out of control. She's eating more than usual and not getting any weight. Lucky. So, Miko also realizes that there is a contest for Mrs. D's haunted house. So if you make it through a haunted house, you get 20 donuts for free.
So on episode 8, at the end of the credits, the last scene,
yep,
it shows the Yakuza guy from the same episode that we met Zen in.
Yep.
Looking for cat food.
Yeah, we get to see him look for the cat food.
And two of the two ghost cats that have been following him around land on the food.
Yep.
He puts the one that they weren't on away. He can't see him, but he can feel him,
right,
almost. And then it cuts to him going to the cake shop.
Yep.
Getting some cake. And the store clerks are freaked out by this guy because he's scary looking. And then it cuts to him being home and he's feeding his kitten the cat food, because it was his previous cats, the two yokai.
Yep, it was
their favorite.
Yeah,
and then
him and his partner's anniversary. So they have the cake.
So that was another really touching moment that I really liked.
That was a good one. So they end up going to this
Mrs. D's haunted house.
Mrs. D's haunted house, which is a haunted house, and I love the fact that the haunted house starts as a Japanese haunted house where things just slowly move and are existing, and then they literally say, this is like an American horror movie.
Yeah.
Where they start getting chased. And it's like a Scooby-Doo sequence, too, where they start getting chased by
they're guys with chainsaws and stuff like that.
And it immediately hits Miko that this is the first time, while she's seeing something scary, she can actually react.
Yeah.
Because they're not these yokai. So she starts screaming, and she's laughing, and it's like, Yulia's like, why is she...
Release.
Yeah, why is she smiling?
Finally able to release all of this pent-up terror.
And then we finally see, this is the second yokai. For the life of me, do not know why. I couldn't look at it. I saw it, I was just like, why?
The guy with the big head?
Dude, it's just a regular dude with an abnormally large head, but I saw him walk on screen, I was like, why? Why would somebody draw that? It's just huge head with these enormous just eyes and the smallest mouth ever. I was like, I don't like that. He's wearing a tracksuit too.
Yeah, he looks like a normal dude.
Just this giant head. I was just like, why is this so uncomfortable to look at? But she then realizes, again, another awesome realization. As they're leaving, they got the stamp to get the free donuts, but they're leaving and there's all of the actors chasing them and the yokai's amongst them. And she's like, wait, I can scream at this yokai, but it's not at the yokai. And so she says, leave us alone. And the yokai leaves them alone.
Yeah. It looks sad about it, too.
Yeah. They run, and the actors chase after them, but the yokai stays, which is one of those moments I was like, okay, we're turning around again. It's another fucking fake out. They do it so many times throughout the series where it's just like, okay, this is where things turn around.
And there was also really weird yokai at the vending machine that she's finally like, I'm going to confront the next yokai I see.
Not this one.
Turns the corner. I don't know how I'm going to confront that. Because it's just like this weird slug thing that's like got a bunch of like tendrils.
You know who it looked like? Was the bathhouse spirit from Spirited Away.
Yes.
You know which one I'm talking about? The big one that had like the almost looks like a cute Cthulhu.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looked like. I was just like, huh.
Yeah, and it's just looking at this vending machine going, warm.
Yeah, warm. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so we are now on to episode 10 where we're now meeting Zen again at his apartment this time. His neighbor knocks on his door and offers him stew or soup. I think it was stew.
And he doesn't open the door all the way.
No, he's still got the chain on to keep it closed. And
you know, there's a bunch of crows outside. Tons
of crows.
And, you know, the neighbor even makes a comment. She's like, oh, ever since, you know, there's been a drop in the stray cat population around.
Yeah, the cats have been going missing. And then we see that that Zen's got blood on his hand. And the neighbor even says, you have blood in your hand.
He's like, oh, I cut myself accidentally.
Don't knock over drinks. I'm leaving that in. No, I'm not. So then we're... Yeah,
and you see Zen throw something in the trash.
No, it's the food. He dumps the food out.
Dumps the food out.
Yeah.
Empties in the trash. But, like, the bag looks kind of... It's got red in it.
Right, yeah. So he's walking... He leaves his apartment. He's on his way to school because he's the substitute teacher or the... whatever they want to call it.
And, like, animals are freaking out near him.
Yep. And so now we're at school and
there's missing cat posters all over the place.
Yeah, it says animal cruelty is a crime. Which, do we need that in the United States, for fuck's sake? Jesus Christ. So, we're back at school and we're on the track field, which is whatever. They're running. Miko and Hana are running. And
Yulia doesn't want to be beaten by...
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So,
but then a yokai starts racing Miko.
Dude, that was not even a race. That yokai flew past, like a car driving past somebody. That was intense. I was just like, what the fuck?
Then Miko's just like, I'm done.
Just gives up. So then we're, again, back in the classroom, and that same giant yokai is... now inside the classroom, which previously was outside, it is now inside, just lurking over Miko, just staring at her, like, just there.
Yeah.
Just, like, it's what the...
And every now and again, just going, don't look at him.
Yeah. Keep saying it. And then, out of nowhere, like, I mean, literally out of nowhere, I rewound it because I was like, did I miss something here? And, literally, the yokai just... goes into Zen. Like,
just goes right inside of him.
Zoop! In there. And I was like, what just happened? Like, I rewound it because I was just like, did I miss something? Like, I felt like I don't know, my brain was just like, did I look away? Did I miss something? No, I didn't.
Nope, this was the first time it happened.
Yep. So, that's pretty much it. At that point,
he's getting everyone's names wrong and stuff like that.
Yeah, and,
And just kind of giving off a creepy vibe.
Yep, and Hana's got a book placed up on her desk like this, and she's just hidden behind just eating because she's so fucking drained. Like, it is hilarious, and she's like making noises too. She's like, just going ham on some sweet bread. Then we are now at a park where Miko is sitting out with Hana on a bench, and there is a yokai and a mom and a little boy with a balloon. And she notices the yokai, notices the little boy waves at her.
And she's like, little kids are cute at that age.
She waves
back.
The balloon has an aura, and then it pops, and then the little kid turns into a fucking yokai.
Yeah, just his arms start, like, whipping out, and, like, he's just like, you can see me!
And it comes at her.
It just bolts at her.
Yep. And then we get to see the fox spirits reappear.
And kick the shit out of a kid.
Again, demolish the arms first, then pop the head.
Yeah.
And
Mind you, sometimes the fox spirits get blown apart also, but they like turn into bugs and reform.
Yeah, which is, I mean, what else would you do? That's how it works. So that's pretty much about it at that point. The most important part of this episode as a whole felt like it wasn't like the last episode wasn't 100% necessary. The most necessary part of this episode was the after credit sequence, because the after credit sequence is these two girls that are in Miko and Hana's class are walking home from school at night, I should say, and they see a weird dude in a hood walk by, and they're just like, oh, what a weirdo. That dude walks down an alleyway and has this weird like scissor contraption and corners a kitten. And
that happens later on, I'm pretty sure.
Nope, that's the end of this episode.
That does happen then?
So, girls, he then hears the girl's voice, like, I heard something, I swear I heard something. Right. They come running around the corner and they save that kitten.
Yeah.
The dude just is walking off when they come around the corner. So they get that kitten away, thank God.
Yeah, this is where my notes stopped.
So on to episode 11, the second to last episode, the episode that like really solidifies everything that has been building up at this point. So we get a flashback to Zen as a child, the opening of that episode, and we get a couple flashbacks with Zen throughout this episode, but the main thing to focus on, and I'm just gonna blow through this, is his mother was horrendously abusive.
Oh, yeah.
He
couldn't go hang out with friends.
Couldn't have pets. Like
couldn't go to people's birthday parties.
No. So
she was very controlling.
Yeah, he bought a gift for a friend for a birthday party that day and wasn't allowed. She didn't want him to go. He left, but never went. He destroyed the present in the park, and this is told over the episode, split up, and I'm just gonna give it all in one single story. He destroys the present, a cat shows up, he rescues the cat, he brings it home, he tries to nurse it to health, his mother fucking kills the cat. The end of the day, Zen is good. He has not killed any cats. But Miko doesn't know that.
Yeah. So the entire time up to this, it makes you believe Zen has been killing the cats.
And he has not been. Indeed, and it's the other side of the spectrum, is he's been saving them. And Miko decides to follow him after school and
catch him in the act.
Yes, and
of killing a kitten.
She catches him with a kitten under a walkway and stops him,
grabs the kitten and runs off.
Bolts. She trips and falls. The cat jumps out of her hands. Zen is behind her, and the cat walks out of the road, and Zen runs out and grabs the cat, and Zen gets hit by a car and lives. I thought he fucking died. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, they killed him. I was like, that was so fast. No, he lives. And this is when we find out that the spirit, that giant spirit that we've been seeing this entire time attached to Zen, is his mother.
Yeah.
And it hit me. This is when it hit me. It hit me before they told you in the show. When they got that first bit of the opening of that episode of the backstory, I was like, it's his fucking mom. Yeah. I was like, what the hell, dude?
Notice, she ends up trying to attack the cat shadows around him in one of the scenes that you see her coming out of his body and like stabbing at the shadows.
Yep. So we also are introduced to the fact that Zen has a friend.
Yeah, his one friend who's a vet. He's where he's been bringing the cats that he finds.
And we get this bit more of a backstory of the fact that like Zen's been rescuing these cats and kittens and bringing them to his friend
to atone for what his mother did.
Right. So at this point, Miko's decided that she needs to figure out a way to
save Hana first.
Well, yeah, you have to save Hana, but at the same time, you have to. It's the mother yokai.
Yeah.
She realizes it's the mother yokai that's just feeding on Hana. So how do I fight this without summoning the fox spirits?
Yeah. First, she thought about going to the axe yokai, but she didn't really understand that.
So she ends up trying to coax the mother out without summoning the fox spirits, which is...
No, she decides to. She goes into the room and goes, you need to leave him alone.
Right.
Which the mother realized she can see her and goes to attack her,
Yep.
which summons the fox.
Well, that's what I was getting to, was she wanted to not summon them at first.
yeah,
and then she realized she had no fucking choice, because she didn't know what to do.
Yeah. And, like, Zen's friend, the vet, explained everything to her.
Yep.
And, you know, so she's like, all right, he's actually a good guy.
So she coaxes the mother spirit away from Zen and runs out of the hospital room into the hallway. The mother spirit slams in the wall, which is really dope animation. I'm glad they showed it twice.
Like, it was a great scene.
Yeah. And I thought for a second there, so the fox spirits show up and hit the mother spirit. I thought they decapitated her because of the way it was animated. I was like, oh shit, they just chopped that bitch's head off. No, they just hit her and she fell down. And I was just like, uh-oh. But then the mother, like, gets back up for a second. The fox spirits blast her arms off because that's what they do. And the mother spirit walks back into Zen's hospital room and turns into the mom, which I was like, oh, snap. I was like, okay, maybe this is the moment, because she looks back over her shoulder at Mieruko, and I'm like, okay, so she's going to apologize and be like, okay, I'm going to leave. And then her eyes fucking snap, and I was like, oh, shit.
She's an evil bitch.
Yeah. And then the fox spirits pop her head like a fucking balloon, and that's it. Now, it's at this moment, the fox spirits are chilling there, right? They talk. One says no, like straight up like, no. And the other one's like, yeah. They're clearly disagreeing about something. And I'm going, Mieruko, thank them. Mieruko, thank them. And she says, fucking nothing. And I was just like, dude, come on. Like, you're missing it. There's something here. And then, so, at that point, now we're going to jump into the last episode. To me, they could have extended the episode 11 and added in 2 of these scenes and made an additional, like, 6 minutes longer and not done episode 12. Because to me, episode 12 is a clip show of, like, and what happened next? And then this.
That's what happens a lot in anime at the end, at the end of a season. It's like, this is where things are right now.
Right. So the short and skinny of episode 12 is the fact that Mieruko knows that she needs to thank these spirits. So she goes back to the shrine and brings food as an offering, which you do. That's also an offering. And they reject it. They mold the food and get mad at her. And
she ends up dumping a shit ton of money into the offering box.
And this is the thing, is she's not thanking the spirits. She's making offerings. This is, you can see how frustrated I am. This is my issue with it, with her as the character. I know this is part of the writing process and part of the storytelling, but it bothered me. Turn around and say something. Like, these people have helped you. They're not these evil yokai that have been following you the whole time. They're good. They clearly have proven that they're good, and you still refuse to talk to them. Like, it bothers me to no end. The whole time I was yelling like I am now at the fucking screen. I was like, say thank you, you ungrateful bitch! Like, just say thank you! But she wasn't doing that. And it really bothered me. And it still clearly bothers me.
Couldn't tell.
So the two fox spirits are there with this big giant light spirit also, that then morphs. Its head splits open into, like, almost like a demogorgon.
Yeah, it's got teeth everywhere.
Yeah.
A giant tongue.
And fucking, like, lurches down at her, and
she wakes up.
She wakes up.
It was a dream.
And here's my thing, was it?
Yeah, it might have been a premonition. She might have blacked out.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
No.
That's one of the things that, if they make another season, I hope they will answer.
Yes. So we then are basically just introduced to the fact...
we could read the manga.
Which I probably will. Yeah. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I saw some of the art. I really like the art. I like a lot of those mangas because it's just black ink on white pages. It's nice looking. More or less what we end up getting at this last episode is the fact that Miko, Hana, and Yuli
are a friend group now.
They're perfect together.
Zen is now remembering people's names.
Yes, which is hilarious.
He no longer has, like, he's not exhausted. He's kind of started, he told his neighbor off
Yeah, he told his neighbor off that I don't like getting food. So he's clearly got like some germophobia, which I get. I mean, like you're abused for so long. He could have been way worse. He could have been killing cats.
Yeah.
But instead he's just a germaphobe. You're like, cool, man. Like you don't want food.
It's like you could have been putting hair in it, and I don't know. You probably didn't do that, but whatever.
Yeah,
and then it turns out
I thought I was hiding it really well.
she was.
She was feeding him hair.
And then you see the guy who is killing the cats.
Yep.
And he's got the scissor contraption, and he's like, ha 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 ha. And, Zen comes up behind him. I finally found you. Tases the shit out of him. And then the next scene after that is like a week or two pass by, and there's a missing persons poster of the guy that was killing cats.
Yep.
So Zen was a psychopath, but not in the way you thought.
And I'm okay with that kind of psychopath. I mean, like, you're like, he's like a Dexter.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. So I'm really curious to see where season 2 goes.
There is a scene with the godmother again on like a farm with her family.
Yep.
And she gets a letter in the mail, and it's the picture that Hana took of her and Miko at the shrine.
Yep.
With the two ghosts fighting behind her.
And she sees it. And she's like, that girl's aura is so strong. It's like, yep. There's also another after credit sequence with the godmother, and you're working really hard, and it was clearly an old man, and then it wasn't there, so he's a yokai also.
Yeah. So I did see the manga, like the manga for that, because I wanted to see where it ended.
Yeah.
Like where the anime ended, and if the manga continued, which the manga does continue.
Mm-hmm.
So she ends up helping that old man, like with her family. With his family.
Okay.
To help him move on.
Oh, that's sweet.
But she also does get the picture, and she's looking at it, and she freaks out about it. And her son's like, what's wrong? She's like, this shrine doesn't exist.
Oh, shit.
So that's like, I'm like, why the fuck didn't they put that in the anime?
Right.
So, I'm
interesting.
hoping when they start the next season, that's where they're going to lead off of.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Well, that was season 1 of
Mieruko-chan. Which is a play on the name Miko and the word Meru, which means to see or observe, because she's the girl who sees.
There you go. Well, yeah, that was season 1 of an anime I never would have ever watched or known about if it wasn't for you and you sharing your Crunchyroll account with me. Yeah, that was, outside of my obvious aggravation to one glaring
character aspect.
I mean, as a whole, the show was great. I really enjoyed it.
It wasn't super scary, but it was very, very creepy at parts.
Very, very creepy.
Very funny.
The yokai design was amazing. There was way more heart than there was scare.
Yeah.
Way more heart.
Yeah. The yokai animation is what drew me to it. Because that's not something you see in a lot of animes.
That's what kept me watching, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, so awesome. That was the first anime. This is what happens. Jason Michael left me alone, and I've watched a fucking anime in its entirety and got fucking tears and anger out of it. So, I mean, it's slightly uncomfortable. I don't know what else you could ask for.
You got all the emotions in there.
Yeah, and this was a perfect person to have as my first guest co-host on here.
Never done this before, so.
Well, you're welcome back anytime, honestly. And maybe once Jason Michael's back, we'll do another anime or maybe a film. Make it easier on him. But yeah, we'll just have you as our resident weeb, even though you don't like that term, and it's weird to say because you're definitely not a weeb.
I don't care.
That's fair.
Like, I watch a lot of anime, I know, but I try not to shove it down people's throats.
Yeah, that's fair. No, you really don't. You've definitely suggested a bunch and have definitely told me to avoid specific ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one of your favorites is One Piece. You were like, yeah, it's great. Don't start it.
Yeah, unless you want to get all the way through, don't start it.
Yeah, and I won't.
Like, it's my favorite, but that's because I don't have a life.
There. I mean, same, but... all right, so normally at the end of our episodes, we give thanks to the people in our lives, people that have done great things, because this wouldn't be happening still. if it weren't for certain people in my life, in Jason Michael's life. I would want to open the floor for you to thank pretty much anybody you want for fucking anything.
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for having me on, because this is a new experience for me. I love experiencing new things. I'd like to thank my brother and my sister-in-law for letting me stay with them, because that's great. My friend group, there's a lot of them, but they've been very, very helpful with keeping me together mentally.
Yeah.
And my cat, because I love my cat.
Best cat.
Yeah.
Best cat. I've only touched one.
Very skittish.
I want to thank you, obviously. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being the first person. A few of the people that I reached out to were like, I want to be the first one. You were like, fuck yeah, I'll be the first one.
Yeah. I don't care about embarrassing myself.
I mean, it's an open conversation. We're just spoiling shit for people, so it's kind of easy. But thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me. I'm really glad it was you that came on the first one. As always, I want to thank JB and Jordan and Bree, everyone over at Camp Nightmare, everybody attached to the Nerd Camp Network. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Jason Michael, I miss you. I can't wait to have you back on. I know it's going to be like over a month until I see you again on here, but thank you for just being here in spirit. Thank you for popping in for 10 seconds when you had an opportunity. I'm assuming you were pooping. Just thank you all very much. And anyone who's popped in and viewed, thank you. And anybody who's been listening on Spotify, thank you very much too. Jump over to the website, spoilersleepover.com. And until next week, I've been Rob.
I've been Ryan.
Sleep tight, suckers.